Yo, what's up, guys? This is going to be 10 tips on how to get good at PvP in Destiny 2. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I hope you guys learned some things. And I'm live on Twitch at twitch.tv/Vinry__. Links in the description. Bye, guys. Alright, so for your sensitivity, so this is all in 800 DPI, so adjust that accordingly. But for keyboard and mouse, I would recommend between, I'd say 4 sensitivity is like the lowest, and I would say probably around 8 sensitivity for the highest. For your ADS sensitivity modifier for keyboard, I use 1.0. This is more personal preference, but I'd probably recommend something like zero point 0.6 to 1.0. I wouldn't run any higher than 1.0, and I probably wouldn't run anything lower than like 0.6 or 0.5. Now for controller, I'd recommend around 8 to like 15 sensitivity. I mean, I wouldn't recommend lower than 8 sensitivities. That's just like too slow for the current sandbox, and your movement's just not going to be as good as it could be. And I mean, you could run higher sensitivity if you could control it, but it just really depends on your skill level. I'd say safe sensitivity is probably around 10 to like 14, and then I would run a lower ADS. I wouldn't run 1. I would probably run like something like 0.5, just so you can still have good movement and you still have the benefits of being precise on a lower ADS. And I would recommend running 0.8 for your sprint turn circle or scale, so you can turn around faster. These are just like default settings. I haven't really played controller much, and I obviously make sure you have controller vibration off and everything else. And yeah, that's it for your sensitivity. Now for your keybinds, so this is mainly for keyboard and mouse, but I'll have some tips for controller too, so make sure you listen. So you can have all of these on just whatever, like your personal preference, and then I'll tell you what the important ones are here. So jump, if your keyboard and mouse, you really want to have, especially for Titan or Warlock, you really want to have your jump bind to your scroll wheel. That allows you to skate faster, and on a Warlock you can actually skate off a stair and you can go super fast. And this is another thing not a lot of people know about, especially if you're like worse at the game. It's not, people don't really tell anyone, but you actually want to run hold crouch instead of toggle crouch. This allows you to crouch twice as fast, as you don't have to press it again to stand back up. And this is how you see people spam crouch so fast. You may think they're macroing, they're actually not macroing most of the time. They're just running hold crouch. And this is with you see all the SMG people using that. And now for your class ability, you ideally, in your dodge and stuff like that, you ideally want to have this on something that's not WASD, like that's using those fingers. So you either want to have it on like your thumb or your pinky. This just allows you to be able to dodge or like place a barricade or do something like that, going either way, like left or right. Air move, I just have this on my scroll wheel. Interact, this is important too for trials, especially on keyboard. You want to have like your regular interact key, whatever that is, and then you want to have like left alt or something where, or like on your pinky or your thumb, or like even on your mouse. This just allows you to be able to res while strafing side to side. And yeah, that's about it for keyboard. Now for controller, I don't have this unlocked, but for controller, if you don't have paddles, I'd recommend binding your hold crouch to your right stick, and this just allows you to spam crouch and be able to slide around while having your right thumb on your joystick. And yeah, that's about it for your keybinds. So now on to peripherals. So I'm on keyboard and mouse, so I'll try to give tips for both controller and keyboard and mouse here. So I'll first start off with controller. So for controller, ideally you want to be playing on a controller that has a control freak, which will allow you to be more precise with your aim, as it's like a lower initial force required to move the stick. And you want to be having paddles, so you can always have your thumbs on your joysticks. Now for and for your monitor, sorry, and your PCs and stuff like that, for your monitor, you ideally want to be playing on a high refresh rate monitor. I'm on a 240 Hz monitor. This just gives you the least delay if you can actually get those amount of frames. Ideally, you want to be playing on at least 144 Hz monitor if you're PC, and if you're console, you want to be playing on a 120 Hz monitor and like have like a PS5 or something. And for keyboard and mouse, so now for your like mouse and stuff like that and your keyboard. So for keyboard, You ideally want to have a mechanical keyboard that will just help out with their feel and stuff like that. And now for your mouse is definitely more important for a game like Destiny 2. You want to have a mouse that fits your hand quite well and that's very comfortable to use. You don't want to be using like a $5 mouse from Walmart. That's not really going to help you out. It's not going to be very comfortable, and let's be honest here, like the glide on it is going to be terrible. Another thing that is really overlooked with mice, and what I used to do before, is that I used to buy a mouse when my mouse feet became really slow. But there's actually these things called like core pads and stuff, like aftermarket mouse skates, which help improve the feel of your mouse on your mouse pad and allows it to go much faster. So you can definitely look into those when you start noticing that your mouse is slowing down on your mouse pad. Now going on to your mouse pad, so you ideally want to be having a high quality mouse pad, something like an Artisan, a Steel Series, for example. Just a mouse pad that has good durability and that lasts a long time, because you don't want to have one part of your mouse pad be really quick and then another part of your mouse pad be really slow. That's just building inconsistencies and it's not good. And now onto your PC. Well, this is more for PC, sorry, but like I guess you can't really control your hardware on console. But for your PC, ideally you want to be getting solid FPS. So for Destiny 2, it's very CPU intensive, so I'd recommend getting either like an i7 12700K, i9 12900K, i5 13600K, stuff like that. That's definitely, if you're looking into building a new PC, that's what you want to invest in. That will help yield the most FPS. If your only game that you play is Destiny 2, I wouldn't recommend spending the most money on your graphics card. If anything, I would spend more of it on your CPU. You still do want to get a solid graphics card. I'd recommend probably around like a 3070 or even like a 3060, as that will not really affect your performance in Destiny 2 that much. Like if I go to my NVIDIA control panel here, sorry, not my NVIDIA control panel, my task manager. Let me just put this here. So I have Destiny 2 open. It is using 20% of my GPU while recording. And this is mostly from OBS. Destiny 2, at least for my 3090, it never goes over 10% GPU usage, while my CPU is above 70% constantly. You can also look into overclocking and stuff like that, but I'm not really going to get into that in this video. That's more on like the PC tweaking side of it. But if you're looking into building a PC, definitely you want to prioritize spending most of your money on your CPU. Alright, so for your video settings, you want to put this on full screen. This is so you get the lowest or least input delay possible. For your resolution, I'm on a 1080 monitor, 1080p monitor, so I run 1920x 1080, but it really just depends on your monitor. I'd recommend running the highest resolution possible. You want to have VSync off. This just fucks up your FPS. I don't run it. Frame rate caps, you want to have this on and then cap your FPS to the refresh rate of your monitor. So I'm on a 240 hertz monitor, so I have my FPS capped on 240. Field of view, you want to have this on 105 if you can. Just max it out. You always want to be playing the max FOV so you have the best awareness. And now for your video settings, so put this on custom, and I would copy these. If your GPU's a little bit worse, you could lower this to like 8x or something. So you want to have anti-aliasing off, this off, texture anisotropy, I can't speak, 16x for me. I'd recommend having something like that. Texture quality, you want to have this on highest, shadow quality lowest, then off, low, 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 medium, medium, and then you want to have these two off. Motion blur is really bad. I would not recommend playing this on. Render resolution, I'd have this on 100, but you could even lower it to like 90, just depending on how bad your PC is. My PC is really good, so I just have it on 100. Then you want to have these two settings off: chromatic aberration, film grain, and then NVIDIA reflex. You just want to have this on. You don't have this on plus boost. Destiny 2 is not a GPU intensive game, so there's no point of having it on plus boost, and that actually lowers your FPS. There's many tests online proving that, so I just have it on, so you get the best with the input delay wise. Alright, so now for your armor slash your stats. So this is a very common mistake for people who are lower skilled at Destiny 2. They really don't know what to be looking for in your armor or like your stats or like your weapon mods and stuff like that. So for your weapon stats, you want to be running, for every class, you want to be running 100 recovery. This will allow you to regenerate at your fastest like possible, just so it allows you to get back into the fight. And for a game mode like Trials, let's say you guys both trade shots, whoever regens first is gonna win the gunfight majority of the time. If you're on 2 recuv, like he's already gonna be full HP, and you're still gonna be like half. Like he's definitely gonna win the round over you. I also recommend for Trials, you want to run higher intellect. I would say no less than like 50 or 60. If you're worse, I would definitely run around like 80 intellect, because supers do win the game and they're very game changing. And if you're on a Titan, you do want to be running 100 Rezel. If you're on and you want to be running as low mobility as possible, so you can scroll escape as fast as you can. And on a Hunter, you want to be running as high mobility and 100 recuv if you can, with like a movement exotic or just whatever. And for your armor, you want to be looking at stat splits that have stuff like this. You want to be running an exotic that is benefiting your playstyle. So for me right now, I'm running an SMG. So I'm running Peacekeepers, which buffs my SMGs. So you know what the perk does: reload SMGs, gives you 100 handling, allows you to stray faster. You know, it's really good. It really helps you out. So you want to definitely be running an exotic that is beneficial to you, as all these 1% differences add up and they make a huge difference in the end. So that's why you want to have your build as optimized as possible. Alright, so now on to your weapon mods on your armor. So I guess I could have had this with like the armor stuff, but yeah, so here I'm on an ARC sniper and an SMG. So what I've noticed, a lot of bad players, they just don't even put targeting on their weapons, on their armor for their weapons, which currently they're broken, but when they work extremely well, and it just helps improve your aim drastically. So you want to be making sure that you're running arc targeting mods for an arc weapon, strand targeting mods for a strand weapon, and yeah, you want to be using mods that help benefit your weapons. Because if I'm running, let's just say for example, I'm running special ammo finder in PvP, like that's not going to do anything for me, you know? You want to be using stuff that you actually have a benefit for, or that you can benefit from. And that's why I have this. And for my barricade, for example, I'm on double distribution, so when I place my barricade close to someone, I get a chunk of my super back, I get my abilities back, and it just allows me to get even more abilities. And usually when I'm playing with friends, they generate orbs, so that's why my boots, I have double absolution, which helps give back my abilities so I can keep using them. And for my chest and my gauntlets, I have fastball, so I can throw lightning nades a lot further away and a lot more quickly. I strand reloader because the reload stability on my SMG is pretty brutal. And then I have double unflinching arc aim, so I'm able to snipe someone through flinch. And my point here is that you just want to be using mods that actually help benefit your weapons, and not using like arc damage resist. You know, I've done many carries where people come into PvP with their PvE loadouts on, and it just is not helping you at all. Alright, so now on to making your build built around the map, like the map of choice, like if it's a long range map, a close range map, or something like that. So for quick player like comp, you can't really control what maps you plan, but for a game of like Trials, you know what the map is going to be, so why not make your build like suited towards that map. So for example, on Eternity, an SMG is pretty good in some instances, but you want to like ideally have something in more range. So that's why I'm on a sniper, so I can still be useful at these ranges. And you just want to be playing around your build strength. So if I'm on an SMG here, right, I don't want to be playing all the way out here. You know, if someone's all the way back there, I'm not winning this gunfight, right? If you're on an SMG, ideally you want to be playing like closer and just like more aggressive. You know, you want to be playing these lanes like here. You don't want to be peeking someone all the way back here, like you're not going to win that gunfight. So my point here is that you want to have a build suited towards the map and play to your build to how it's supposed to be played. So if you're on SMG, you want to be playing closer range. You know, if you're on a hand cannon, you can play a bit further away, especially with the 120, like you have more range. So you you want to be playing closer, and hand candy can peek shots, so you want to be playing close to cover and using that. Alright, so now onto your weapons. So for Crucible specifically, you want to be running weapons that are as best as possible and that are hopefully meta, unless you're like, I don't know, you just want to test something out. But if you're playing a competitive game mode and you want to do as best as you can, you ideally want to be running the meta weapons. So these two guns right here, so this isn't even mastering, this is a terrible roll. You know, you do not want to be going into Crucible with this, or this NUD for example. You know, it's just not a great roll at all. And you don't want to be going to Crucible with weapons like these. These are doing you no favors. They're not making your life easier. If anything, you're just making it much harder. Ideally, you want to be having a God roll. If you're not too sure, you can go on a website or just like ask a streamer or something for their opinion on a weapon, and they will hopefully tell you the best roll for that gun. And I would recommend running weapons that have the highest usage. So like for example, some Mortal. It's basically the best it can be. It is rangefinder, target lock, high cal, full bore, or in range master, so it's 80 range. This is really good. It's one of the best weapons in the game. And then I also have Cloud Strike with the Catalyst, so it gives more handling. And it's just all these like 1% optimizations. You know, for your weapons, you want to be making your life as easy as possible. And the difference, sometimes the difference in a game is who has the better roll in the gun, whoever has more range and stuff like that. So why not give yourself the best advantage in that regard? Now for our last tip, which is crosshair placement, which is actually one thing that when I watch other people's gameplay, I notice is sometimes really bad, especially if they're not the greatest at the game. So we'll use this door for example. So you know when you peek someone, right, you're around here. What I notice what a lot of bad players do is sometimes their crosshairs all the way down here. Now, what benefit does it serve to you having your crosshair down here? So you have to do a crazy flick up to their head, or maybe you know they're on the right side, but you're looking here. You know, you have to do a crazy adjustment, which is like really bad and will lower the consistency of your aim. So if you know someone is here on the right, you want to be keeping your crosshair over here, you know, where you think they're gonna be. And when you're clearing an angle, you want to keep your crosshair and head level. Like there's a common head glitch here and here. Just as long as you remember you play the game, you'll know where like the common lanes are to peek and the common angles are. So you just instantly know where to stick your crosshair. You can like clear it like one by one. And this will just overall help improve your aim because you will have to do a smaller adjustment. Your crosshair will already be there, and especially on controller, it's very difficult to do a large flick very quickly.